vexed his righteous soul from day to day with their unlawful deeds. Wow. Be careful what you are seeing, and be careful what you are hearing. Be careful what you tolerate and what you're willing to put yourself around. Because you are going to, without even knowing it, you are going to desensitize yourself to sin. It's going to become normal. It's going to become comfortable. And you're going to get to the place where it doesn't even bother you. I'm telling you, that's where a lot of people live. It doesn't, you'll hear this expression, well, it doesn't affect me, so I don't care. You better care. Because if it affects them, it can affect you. We found that out in Boston. And we will continue to find it out in every place in the country. It happens every day. Every kind of sin ultimately increases the propensity of somebody being more evil than they were before. And a Christian was, a year or two ago, there was a Sunday school teacher who I think wound up abusing and killing one of her students. And it sent shockwaves through the church and through that community. How does that happen? How did she get to that place? You and I will never know, but God does. Because He followed her path and watched her. He knows everything. There's nothing secret with God. There's nothing hidden with God. Lot didn't see it at a certain point. And so he'd become comfortable there. And the angels came and they put everything up in a tizzy. And so chapter 19, if you'll go to Genesis 19, and we'll close with this. It's time to go. The angels tell them, we're leaving. And God's told us we're to bring judgment. And so the instructions were very clear. Verse 13, for we will destroy this place, because the cry of them is waxen great before the face of the Lord, and the Lord hath sent us to destroy it. And Lot went out and spake unto his sons-in-law, which married his daughters, and said, Up, get you out of this place, for the Lord will destroy this city. Now here's why I know that Lot had been affected and he had vexed his soul. This statement. He said to them, Up, get you out of this place, for the Lord will destroy this city. But he seemed as one that mocked unto his sons-in-law. Wow. They had absolutely no respect whatsoever for his Christianity. Instead of saying, okay, Dad, yeah, we're with you. Hey, honey, let's get it, let's pack it up, let's go. Let's go right now. No, they thought it was like he was mocking. It was they had no interest at all in going. And when the morning arose, then the angels hastened Lot, saying, Arise, take thy wife and thy 2 daughters which are here, lest thou be consumed in the iniquity of the city. And while he lingered, the men laid hold upon his hand, and upon the hand of his wife, and upon the hand of his 2 daughters, the Lord being merciful unto him. And they brought him forth and set him without the city. And it came to pass, when they had brought them forth abroad, that he said, Escape for thy life, look not behind thee. Why? What did Jesus say in the New Testament about looking behind? Paul said, forgetting those things which are behind and reaching forth into those things which are before. But Jesus said, he that looks back, rather than putting his hand to the plow, is not worthy to be my disciple. The Christian's point of view is not looking back. It's not like the Israelites who said, would God we were back in Egypt. At least there we had food. At least there we didn't have all these difficulties. And so the angel said to Lot, and said to his wife, and his daughters heard it too. Escape for thy life, look not behind thee, neither stay thou in all the plain. Escape to the mountain, lest thou be consumed. God he wasn't mincing any words, and he meant business. And Lot said unto them, Oh, not so, my Lord, but now thy servant hath found grace in thy sight, and thou hast magnified thy mercy. Go down a little farther. It says, And the Lord rained upon Sodom and upon Gomorrah brimstone and fire, verse 24, from the Lord out of heaven. And he overthrew those cities and all the plain, and all the inhabitants of the city, and that which grew upon the ground. Now look at verse 26. But his wife looked back from behind him, and she became a pillar of salt. You see the effects of vexing your soul? It affected his wife. It affected his sons-in-law. You find out later that his daughters got him drunk, committed incest with their father, which became the countries of Ammon and Moab, 2 of the arch enemies of Israel. How could a family, a man called Just Lot, allow that in his family? How could he go from that, from being with his uncle Abraham and from being Just Lot, how could he go from that to having basically losing a couple of his daughters that stayed back with his sons-in-law? His wife, now a pillar of salt, has no wife. And then his daughters committing incest with their dad. How? It was 16 years of the effects that he allowed, embracing the philosophies, embracing the sin of Sodom. And it destroyed him. You know, the grace of God calls him Just Lot. That's God's grace. I don't know what Lot will receive. That's not for me to judge. I know what I want to receive. And heavy hangs over our head to keep from vexing our souls. Our Father, we ask this evening you would sober us. Such a tragic story, but a very real story. And one that we are continuing to see examples of unfolding in our daily life. Every one of us in this room know families that don't believe the same, and don't live the same, and don't think the same as they used to. Because over time, they've allowed this world to affect everything in their philosophy and in their lifestyle. Help us never to go there. May we constantly pray as Jesus commanded us to pray. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Help us to guard our hearts, guard our souls, that we might be able to hear, well done. You've pleased me. I'm proud of you when we see you face to face. Let's stand.